Hello and welcome to another Path of Exile video. This is going to be a showcase of my level 70 Acolyte of Chayula, lightning based monk. There are a lot of changes that I've kind of wanted to do. The main issue is like support links, passive tree, etc. So by the end of the week, it's probably going to be a little bit different. Additionally, this has been something I've been kind of testing, but essentially if you go to like mini events and you respawn at checkpoint, you just get a fresh pack, and sometimes you can get like essences and stuff. So there's been sorry, I'm literally logging in to the game, so I'm not even, for whatever reason, I just can't press my buttons right. My brain is still very much so in work mode. But as you can tell, there's a rare here as well. And there's like some blue packs. It was something that I was testing around. I did end up getting 2 uniques after like 10 minutes doing this. That's okay. Oh, Life Sprig. Wait. Why is Life Sprig fucking level 58? What? Anyways, we're gonna be discussing mostly the build, not this weird farming strat that I was testing out of blind curiosity. So, the build how I have it right now is doing a lot more damage than the build that I had as like the bossing showcase. I think I'm doing around twice the amount of damage at this point, and I have not upgraded like any of my gear whatsoever, other than like exalt slamming my chest for some life. Like I exalt slammed the evasion ES. I exalt and corrupted my gloves to get like some chaos and extra res. Just super lucky with these gloves how they turned out. I exalted life regen on these boots, and I regaled the dexterity, so they're pretty much mid. I have full quality on my weapon. The passive tree. Essentially what I did at the very beginning was I came out through here, I saw all this like crit stuff immediately, and I was just like, maybe you can go crit early on? No, you can't. And then I also saw this lightning stuff up here, this elemental stuff. I had no idea which skill I wanted to use. And then I also saw like some of the chaos stuff. I would know I wanted to go chaos monk. This is going to be really important later on when skill effect duration becomes much more important. It is becoming way more important for my build in the current state that it is. This 7% increased chaos damage, and then all these other chaos mods, they're really, really good. I only currently have 1 chaos skill, but I might be switching it Stormwave out for another chaos skill so I can apply marks or curses on hit to really boost up the single target damage for like bossing and mapping. But mapping, Gathering Storm, it already one-shots like pretty much every single pack in the game. So mapping is pretty much just Gathering Storm. You charge it up, and it has this weird, I'll get into the Gathering Storm stuff, but it has some really interesting internal mechanics that really make it very potent. What I want to respec on my current tree is I want to respec all of this lightning pen, because I found out that too much pen is no bueno. I did not know this. It does not tell you, I don't believe. Lightning resistances. It does not tell you if, oh, penetration, yeah. To a minimum of 0, since penetration only affects hits and applies to the target's defensive stats rather than your own offensive stats, it does not affect damage with ailments. So pen is completely useless for ailments. I think a lot of Ignite builds are kind of like scuffed because like pen is useless, lowering res is useless, so I don't know. Ignite might be kind of scuffed. So yeah, all of this pen I want to get rid of because there is hybrid pen down here and also magnitude, and then I also want to swap out Tempest Flurry for the Ice Strike one. So I want to pick up this wheel instead, and because I'm getting like some like magnitude and it's not really like chance to shock, which is kind of annoying. It's just magnitude. I don't know if I should keep this. I'm not entirely certain, but the critical strike chance is like required, I think. Not entirely certain what I'm going to do there. And then I want to path up here, and I want to get not the exposed to the cosmos, but the lightning stuff, because I think no matter what, charge staff is still really, really, really good. And if I switch to an elemental staff later game, then I can kind of just use whatever abilities that I find fun, and I can kind of ignore a lot of the other mechanics. This is dagger stuff, but there's some crit stuff up here as well. The crit chance is super important. And the reason I took this is because critical strike chance against full enemies on full life is really, really good for Gathering Storm. This one with the storm, quarterstaff skills that consume power charges count as consuming an additional power charge, does not work for charge staff. I don't know why. Where is my charge staff here? I should really reorganize this so it's much easier for me to understand where things are at, because if I put it somewhere then in an order that makes logical sense in my combo based tier, then I can actually like know where things are at. But this is an attack buff, AoE, and duration, but it is a spell. For whatever reason, it's just not working. I only ever get up to 3 charges. Maybe I just need to like thoroughly test it more, but currently Siphoning Strike, I think Siphoning Strike needs to have like a huge explosion attached, like when it detonates a strike, when it detonates a shock, I think it needs to do like this shockwave. I think this radius needs to be like quadrupled, or I need to socket like more AoE instead of less AoE. I don't know, but the idea right now is I need it to do as much damage as possible up front, so any white trash mob does not immediately like start stun locking me. Also, I need to fix my cold res so I can get stunned. The stun charm is absolutely required, even with even with the stun threshold while on full life, portions of my ES applying to my stun threshold. This give me 20, 28, 36% of my ES as additional stun threshold, and it just does not do anything for me anymore. Really, really sad about the hybrid playstyle not really being that good. What I might do in the very, very end game is just get a really potent energy shield helmet, and that's pretty much just where all my ES is going to be coming from. And then I think I'll anoint Spectral Ward, but I won't path to take Spectral Ward. Instead, I'll path to take Bestial Skin, and I'll go a super high evasion chest. That way I can have all the like hybrid effectiveness without really needing to invest in a lot of stuff. For the time being, I'm still going to take Inner Faith no matter what. Even though I want to drop these nodes up here for better lightning nodes over here, I still think that as a whole, I might not even take the pen just because I'll have pen. But then again, this critical strike chance is super important. So maybe I just path through this side down here and use a cold skill as like my melee skill for strike and combo building. I don't know for certain. In case you're unaware, you pretty much need to use strike skills, so anything that is considered a strike will build combo. So your Mantra of Destruction and Tempest Spell, they gain charges. They do not gain them separately. It's based off of each individual strike. So no matter what, it's building up strikes. And as long as you keep striking, so you can actually use Tempest Flurry on, like, let's say that this is a random, like, one of those like chests that, like a breakable chest. You can use your Tempest Flurry on that, and that will cause you to maintain your total, like, for your bell and your Mantra of Destruction. So if you're just general clearing and you're looting, and then you see a chest, you can go tap it real quick, and that'll cause you to maintain your combo in case you want to walk up to the next pack and then press Mantra of Destruction. Mantra of Destruction, it's kind of like, this playstyle is like, I clear some builds, some packs with Charge Staff and Tempest Flurry, and other packs with Gathering Storm, and then if there's other mobs that aggro onto me, I finish them off with Siphoning Strike. That way I can continue using Charge Staff and Tempest Flurry. So it's kind of like some packs I use the Tempest Flurry, other packs I use the Gathering Storm, and because of that, there's a support. I don't have it currently, but when I get a 4th socket, Gathering Storm, I'm going to put the 100% increased critical strike chance. Where's the... Supported skills gain 25% increased critical strike chance for each second up to 100%. Inevitably critical strikes. I think this is a really potent support for your Gathering Storm. Like super important. And I really wish that there was a support that gave you like power charge. Because currently, Potential is the only power charge related support gem in the game. So yeah, it's not really that fun to play around, but yeah, you could use potential with like your like Falling Thunder, for example. If you wanted to use Falling Thunder, that would be a very strong interaction, but I just don't like Falling Thunder. I think it's pretty good early game, and then it falls off tremendously like towards Act 3, like absolutely miserable skill. That's just my own personal experience with Falling Thunder. But that support on Gathering Storm would be really good. The other skills, they kind of don't work that great with it. For the current supports that I'm using, I am putting Vitality into the Breach. It does not impact the total spirit reservation that like pops up over here, and if you put more spirit costing stuff, all of a sudden it disables into the Breach, and you like basically like you can still gather the things. It's so funky. Like I'm walking over here and I'm still gathering them. I just don't know if it's really that good. So my total life recovery, like it does still work. Like you can kind of just put whatever in here, but I don't know if it's definitely gonna get fixed. There's been some weird interactions where it just stops working entirely. So that's something that you can also do. I don't know. I don't like abusing things just because it's like abusable, but that is something that you can abuse. Like your spirit, you can put them in it. It disables the skill, but the skill still works. Like you saw the flames appearing. So I don't like it. I don't like abuse cases and everything else like that. Currently I'm using Ghost Dance, but I'm most likely going to drop Ghost Dance and Herald of Thunder for a like triggering energy kind of related thing. Currently I have the skill effect duration and cannibalism, or less skill effect duration. So it still says 3.35 here, but if you go here, duration between ghost shrouds is 2.35. So this does actually work. It's just this tooltip over here is bugged. You have to hit this arrow. And then Stormwave, what this does is you consume, or no, this isn't the consuming. This is the ranged shock skill. So it applies shocks at range. So nice if you have like a much tankier rare and you don't have anything built up and you want to deal with it. But other than that, it doesn't really do anything. Charge Staff consumes the power charges that we build up in this build. And the wave component does 80% fizz converted to lightning. Additionally, you can just get a high like elemental staff, try elemental, and that'll work fine as well. It does give you some flat added lightning damage to quarterstaffs per power charge consumed, up to your maximum power charges. And I think that is the line that is bugged with the quarterstaff node that I mentioned earlier. It's not really that great for that skill specifically. Maybe it works for Falling Thunder. I don't know. And then with this, I have more skill effect duration. Supported skills have 35% chance to not remove the charges, but still count as consuming them. And attacks gain 35% of damage as lightning damage for 3 seconds on killing a shocked enemy with supported skill. What happens with the spamming of Tempest Flurry and Charge Staff, if you happen to clear that way, is the Charge Staff hits do so much lightning damage, and with all the shock chance on my tree right now, it is consistently shocking every like pack pretty much. And if it's not, Tempest Flurry is, because the final hit of Tempest Flurry has a higher like shock component to it. I don't know. Yeah. Final strike that calls down a powerful shocking bolt. So it just has like more chance to shock built into it. I don't think it says it there, but I believe it says it here. Yeah, 100% more chance to shock on the very final hit. And these two skills interact really well. Pretty much any rapid hitting skill interacts really well with Charge Staff. All of them do. And because of that, you can kind of use whatever strike skill you want it. I'm just using Tempest Flurry for higher shock chance right now. Mantra of Destruction linked with have Calling Strike. So any time that you use this, you gain a buff for 8 seconds. And then skills empowered by supported skills naturally deal 15% more damage. It's just more damage than Calling Strike. Ideally, I would have like more duration linked to it as well. But because it is chaos damage related, and because I'm Chayula Monk, this Lingering Horror is definitely like really impactful for a lot of this duration scaling stuff that I'm doing. The only thing that it negative impacts is Ghost Dance, and because of that, I will probably be unspecking Ghost Dance entirely and doing a energy meta skill related build in the future. Herald of Thunder, currently I have it supported with Blind, Elemental Focus, and Primal Armament. This is all going to change. Basically, it cannot shock anything, but it will 100% apply Blind. That scales the little bit of evasion that I have whenever it is triggering really well. So the base damage of this, it has 38% chance to crit, and then it has like Lightning Pen built into it. It's just a big damaging hit. It's very potent when it is working, and it works incredibly well with Gathering Storm. So those two skills combined can like completely one-shot like even blue packs if the density is there. Tempest Flurry is linked to Lightning Infusion, Crescendo, and Martial Tempo. So Crescendo means that final fourth strike happens twice, and then the Martial Tempo just gives it really high attack speed. Gathering Storm. This is the hold down ability. It's a little tricky to get used to, but like after you hear that sound, the sound cue, and that's basically like the time that you want to strike with it, and that'll make it do a ton of damage. A perfect dash leaves behind the shocked ground 70%, and then the shock waves whenever it hits an enemy, and it can have a maximum of 8 shock waves currently. So in really dense packs, there's a lot of overlapping. And the shockwave meter is a lot better than a lot of the other AoE abilities. And then the additional effects from quality will give it additional shockwaves. So this is linked with the window of opportunity. This is specifically like a perfect and channeling skill thing. Momentum. After moving at least 2 meters during a skill use, the rest of that use deals 40% more damage. And I believe the like walking the step back is applying that damage, moving towards that like 2 meters. Not entirely certain what exactly 2 meters is, but it definitely does work with it. And then the supported skills have 40% more area of effect. That just helps with the shockwaves. I don't think it really impacts too much. Oh, I clicked way too many things, and you can't hit escape to exit out of those. It doesn't really impact the shocking ground. I wish the shocking ground kind of like expanded a little bit and radiated more, because there's been times where because it leaves the shocked ground, you want to hit him with siphoning strike afterwards if there are any mobs still alive. And because siphoning strike has like a knockback component to it, it can knock them out of the knockback enemies on hit. It can knock them out of the shocked ground, so you can't like continuously get more power charges. But this skill is linked with 50% chance to grant additional charge, and then 40% more damage with enemies on low life, and 40% more area damage. So basically anything low on life, it's just going to immediately kill them. So that way you're not getting like basically stun locked. So that's the current build. All these skills, oh, and Tempest Spell is linked with Withering Touch, Font of Rage, and Lightning Exposure. Font of Rage, it doesn't really give you that much rage because of how fast we detonate the Tempest Spell. So it may not be that too impactful, but there are moments where it can be very helpful. And then the lightning exposure can actually lower the res below 0. There's no limit on the exposure. So some mobs that have naturally low res will just inherently get even lower. Not entirely sure how lightning exposure and penetration work together. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. Not entirely certain if using lightning pen and lightning exposure together are really important, but lightning pen is really important on Gathering Storm. So how much time? Yeah, I got enough time. I will run a map. Let's do springs here, and I'll just put all of my current shit in a dump tab, and we'll go into a map, and we'll wrap up this video. I'm not going to clear out the entire map, I just want to get a general idea of the playstyle. And obviously, like I said, I'm going to be making a lot of changes. So as you can tell, you can kind of like lure up the mobs and then go about your day that way. But like all this downtime in between packs is kind of bad. But this wave, it's killing enemies by itself. Like, it's pretty powerful. And then my stacks, they're falling off. So I need to rebuild them and reset them. But like once you get the build going, it's a lot less conditional, and it's pretty consistent. Using Gathering Storm just kind of feels nice because it's a mobility skill and you don't really have access to a lot of those. So that's the general playstyle. You can get stunned while using your charge dash, which is really annoying. Yeah, the rare died before I could even put the bell down, so yeah. This could also just be the simple fact that like I have a pretty substantial weapon here. I'm not going to deny that, but it doesn't have any base crit or anything, and my crit is like not really perfect. Mana has become more and more of an issue. The higher, what is it called? The more sockets you get in abilities, the higher the mana cost gets. And sometimes you can, especially against rares. This one is actually like pretty tanky. But sometimes with rares, you can just hit Siphoning Strike and the charged staff will actually like be able to shock them. But evasion doesn't work against like any of the slam skills, so that gorilla just used leap slam on me. Absolutely does not do anything against them. So that's kind of a feels bad man. But if my charged dash crit was a lot higher, it would definitely be one-shotting a lot more of the mobs. And I can't really tell which packs specifically are blue packs, but I pretty much just treat every pack as like a blue pack. Now my charged staff has completely fallen off, so I need to rebuild it the next pack. Didn't get any shocks, so I prefer just using the charge dash and trying to fish for a shock. It does hit behind you a little bit, so that can be very beneficial. I want to build up more shock. This is the problem with this build, is like getting shocks on enemies is like really hard when your base skills just automatically kill the enemy. So I don't know what I'm gonna do specifically about that. I think I need to use a meta skill so that way I can try to have more abilities that apply better shocks, because luring mobs onto like the shocked ground does not feel good. Blue pack, instantly dead. So charge dash, as long as it crits, it's gonna kill the blue pack. Just because of the overlapping lightning damage and then the Herald of Thunder currently. I do have the node for the Herald of Thunder like aura reservation, and that helps out tremendously. But as you can see, I've never gotten 4, even though I have the chance for, or it's not even a chance, it just says quarterstaff skills that consume power charges consume 1 additional, and it just doesn't work with charge staff at all. But that duration on the charge staff would definitely help. Additionally, you could probably just completely forgo the Gathering Storm, but the Gathering Storm mana cost is a lot lower than Tempest Flurry. Like, if I use Tempest Flurry, the entire combo, that's like 15% of my mana. 1 charge dash is not 15%. Like, it's barely noticeable. So charge staff is definitely like way less mana intensive of a skill. So that's basically how the build plays. That's all the interactions, and I do definitely want to make changes to the build. I definitely think that it can be improved drastically. So I'll wrap up the video now, and that's pretty much it. I have 21 monsters remaining in this map. Additionally, I do have the where did I put it? One of these. I have Number of Trials 3. For my next Ascendancy point, I'm thinking I'm going to go Chayula's Gift, because chaos damage is such a huge problem in maps. And I would basically be at 60% chaos res with the whole doubling and the little bit of chaos res that I get there. The other option, like if you don't have a good weapon, just go reality rending. I don't know if that RNG hit mechanic, how that's going to interact with the charge dash or Gathering Storm. And for future reference, I'm probably just gonna refer to this as Lightning Tiger Strike because it is quite literally just Lightning Tiger Strike from Lost Ark. And I'm of the opinion that Lightning Tiger Strike is one of like the coolest skills in Lost Ark. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm a huge Striker main. I love Striker and Lost Ark. I've made builds for Striker. I love Esoteric Flurry Striker. I do not like Deathblow, even though I played both and I still have all the gear for both and I still build both. But yeah, I'm just a Gathering Storm fan. But my next video is going to be entirely like scrutinizing the negative aspects of PoE 2 so far, and I'm not really gonna hit on like any of the currency and crafting stuff. Just understand that like I used, where is it, this helmet at level 28, and before then I just used like some random piece of trash, and this is the helmet that I currently have. Item level 62 and item level 29. I'm not going to go based off of required eye level because that's stupid in my opinion, but 29 to 62 is a very long aspect ratio of progression, and the primary reason is because melee builds, you need to invest all your currency into a better weapon, else your build sucks. And prioritizing better weapons after you get into a new act is 100% required. The only thing that I'm gonna say on like the weapon stuff is go to these different zones once it's load that have the camps. The camps, they sell discounted rated items, so you can get a much powerful item for a very, very, very high discount rate. So if you have a lot of excess gold, just go back and forth. You can, where's my waypoint here? You can control click any zone and you can just make a new. And that'll instantly refresh the vendor, I believe. Don't quote me on this, but I did go around and I did check all the vendors on every playthrough, and that is a primary like way that I geared up my character. The discounted rates, and I think honestly sometimes they provide better items. So like this item level 53, this item level 66, that's a better like ratio. This ring is item level 17. I've not been able to craft a ring that is better. All I need is a ring with like all elemental res or something that hits a high lightning res, and instantly it would be an upgrade, because this is basically just a prismatic ring with a high lightning res as the implicit. Additionally, I don't know if blessed orbs are even in the game. I'm assuming they're not, based off of like the limited thing, because these are the jewelers. These are for socketing into your gems, and I'm assuming that is gem quality. I haven't gotten any gem quality, so I don't know. That's obviously a mirror of Kalandra. That's alchemies that don't exist, and these are divines. And I don't know what these two currencies are, but I highly doubt that they have anything to do with blessed orbs. So not having blessed orbs is really huge negative impact in my opinion. But like this ruby ring is insane. Pretty much all my gear has been alt regal crafted. This was bought off of a vendor. So yeah, that's been my experience with like the currency and the crafting, etc. So that's it for this video. I hope me going in depth on how the build works and showing the clear and all that helps everybody else out. And like I said, there's a lot of things that I want to change, so I'll probably be changing that as I get further into maps. Currently, I know a lot of people are struggling with Monk, and pretty much like you need to be playing the free skills in my opinion, even though early on the free skills that they give you at the very beginning are really, really, really shit. I don't like it. I don't like that you need to wait until you are literally like almost into maps in order to get like the final tier of skills. Like this being Act 4 and this being basically like Act 5 / Act 6, like accessibility wise, is really, 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 really bad. The skills that I'm primarily thinking of swapping into is Ice Strike for Tempest Flurry, and then Hand of Chayula for a Storm Wave, and then Hand of Chayula I can link it with Where is it? It is not any of those. It is a mark. Voltaic mark. I believe that is a better way because this has really high shock chance. Marks a target, making them more susceptible to being shocked. When the marked target dies, a lightning nova erupts from the corpse. This nova does not use your weapon damage and instead uses its own base attack damage. So I think that this might have better implications against bossing. And currently, with the Gathering Storm leaving the AoE shocked ground and the Siphoning Strike being able to like basically spam it as long as you don't knock enemies off of it, has been an acceptable way to get your power charges for your charge staff. And then the Tempest Flurry, or not, yeah, Tempest Flurry, switching it to the Ice Strike.
Ice Strike is a combo with 3 cold attacks.
This is going to allow you to freeze the enemies. Additionally, it allows you to freeze the bell. And I think that's going to be way better against bosses where the melee component of a strike skill is more important. It does have like worse interaction with the charged staff. So it's not going to explode the bell instantly like charge staff does. So the bell is going to have a lot better like uptime with applying the like reduced lightning res, and then you can actually hit the enemy with a Gathering Storm. Gathering Storm is not really good for bosses because of the mobility aspect of it. You kind of just end up in AoEs that you don't want to be in. So that's it for this video. That's the rambling thought process that I have right now. I might change things later. The final thing that I'm going to say is I actually am interested more right now with all of the like the Fizz quarterstaff skills, because I honestly think that's a really good fucking archetype that nobody's really taking advantage of right now. But the daze and the stun, all that stuff, I think is going to be a lot better at bosses, especially as a Chayula monk, because you don't need to do all of this like elemental investment, and a lot of the daze is all nearby, like a lot of the crit nodes. It's very efficient traveling, and there's not a lot of it, and you're already coming out here because you want like struck through. You could drop all of these nodes here because you wouldn't be running Herald of Thunder probably. And then, yeah, and then also this has like freeze buildup in it, so you could like add in some like cold damage and whatnot. So I think it's just very potent, and then you could obviously just anoint like Seeing Stars if you really need even more days buildup. But that's it for this video. Yeah, expect a very in-depth feedback video next. See ya, peace.